Hey everybody, just a quick video to kind of update you on the channel here and what's been going on and why I haven't made a video in a while. The spring term was pretty wild as a professor, and I think all of you out there who teach know what I'm talking about. Suddenly have to shift your in-person class to online, and I kind of reveled in that decision, but as things went on, I found myself missing something, and I didn't really feel like making a lot of videos about it. I felt that like a part of my life was missing, and I've reflected on that a bit, and I think it was some of the ritual of the teaching moment was kind of lost, and I didn't really like the idea of coming in here and sitting in front of a camera during that time. Plus, being here in Queens, right between Queens Hospital, which is that way, and Elmhurst Hospital, which is that way. Actually, I think Elmhurst Hospital is that way. Being between these two major epicenters of COVID-19 wasn't doing good things for the way I was feeling about the world, and I was sort of worried about what was going to happen. And somebody who has asthma, I was very worried about catching it. So all of that meant I didn't really feel like making a bunch of inspirational videos on this channel about speech or oratory or argument. But recently, I've kind of crawled out of that cocoon, and what did it was the realization that higher education is never going to be the same again. I don't know what your relationship is with higher education. You're watching this. Maybe you're a prospective college student, an administrator, a professor yourself, or maybe you teach adjunct at a college somewhere, or you teach at a community college. The relationship's going to change, and what made me think that was I had an opportunity to leave higher education. And I thought about it for probably about 16 days, which I don't know if that's significant. Significant for me because I'm a very intuitive thinker, and I like to make decisions based on that, even though I teach reason and argument and debate and rhetoric and all that. I know it's pretty silly to say I'm intuitive, but I am. And I like making intuitive decisions that usually serve me pretty well. They're the reason I have this position that I have here in New York as a tenured professor here. And I'm able to read and speak and think and share with young people their ideas and help improve them, which is what I see the role of a teacher being. But that moment of thinking about leaving the academy really devastated me, and I felt like there's more to do, and I want to stick around for a while. And I think in this economy, with everything that's going on, it's good to hold on to this position for now. Now, if you're paying the least bit of attention to the world, you'll know that it's a little egotistical of me to think that it's up to me whether I'm going to hold my position in higher ed. Enrollment is down all around the United States for people going to college. People are taking time off. They don't like online education. They consider it a low-quality product, and it kind of is, and that's primarily because professors don't think of it as a designable product. They think of it as content students should be lucky to have, so they don't do anything to produce it well. They don't even do half the things I do when producing my videos. Maybe even a quarter. They don't really engage in the equipment and the time necessary to put out something appealing that is a quality product, which is the way you should think about an online lecture. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So I think that my role is to kind of think about how that transition between traditional higher ed and whatever we're doing now is going to look like. And I'd like to be a voice in that conversation. And I feel like posting on YouTube is a good way for me to do that. As a rhetorician, as a sophist, I'm very interested in adaptability and adapting messages and adapting practices for new and different audiences. And I think that there's a lot of advantages to sharing those thoughts or that conversation on YouTube or an easily accessible public forum. And we'll get to that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm not going to leave the academy. I'm going to be stuck here at least for the duration until things start to really collapse. And I hope that you'll stick around the channel and watch the videos and engage me in interesting conversation about these videos and about the things that I'm bringing forward. So the first consideration, I'm putting my classes together, and the first thing that worries me is professors' mistakes about higher ed, and I hope I'm not making mistakes, but here's a couple of mistakes I see professors making in their online conversations about online teaching. First, quality teaching is not quality control. What I mean by that is when you're putting out a quality product, you are evaluating yourself and saying, is this something that people would want to watch or listen to? Is it comfortable and easy to access? And now I can talk about YouTube as being a wonderful platform for teaching, because YouTube is so good at adjusting to your bandwidth and your computer's abilities and scaling that video automatically. Like I shoot my videos in 2.7K at 60 frames a second, and I upload to YouTube at 1080, 60, which I think is a pretty good format for YouTube. It looks pretty good on most machines, but if a student's video can handle it, it'll adjust, and I think that's great. But instead of quality control is what most professors are worried about online, is cheating, academic dishonesty, and plagiarism. And this is primarily what the online discussion is about, oddly, in the places I've been. And my concern with that is that you're assuming that that's the student's natural state, instead of the proper way to think about the student, which is someone who went through a lot of hell, a lot of money, a lot of mental and physical exertion to put together a case to petition the university to accept them. Why? So they can improve themselves. So the students expect quality from us and deserve it for being accepted, for going through that crucible, for going through that gauntlet. They deserve that from us. And for you to think that your job is to say, oh, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't write well enough. If that's your attitude, is like you're policing the students of who's a good student or not, that's going to contribute to the failure of your institution. The respect to put out quality material is, I think, what's missing from a lot of that. So quality teaching versus quality control. Quality teaching is reaching out. Quality teaching is inquiry, co-inquiry, asking people to create. It's not, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. I mean, they're not going to want to check their email if that's all they're getting. The second thing is got it teaching versus gotcha teaching. And I think this is a big point too. So gotcha teaching is when you're like, oh, look how wrong you are. Oh, got you. Oh, it's when professors ask questions and they get that answer they want just so they can make fun of it and say, why do people think like this? Da, da, da. I mean, professors need to realize they're in a very a terrarium-like environment. They're very well insulated, at least people at my level. And you're always around incredibly well-read, smart people, and you're reading things that most of the general public doesn't have access to. So when you're teaching, you have to exert a lot more to reach people who aren't in that environment, or maybe experiencing that environment for the first time in college. You have to reach out to them a lot more, and you have to really exert yourself a lot more. And what you want, the reward, is that got it moment where the student's like, oh, I understand. And it might not even be you who does it. I don't know how many times I have exerted myself beyond belief to get a student to understand something. Then they hear some random thing on YouTube, or some random thing a friend of theirs says, and they're like, oh, I understand it now. And you're just like, why did I did all this work, and that's what you needed. But it all works together. It's a combination. It's like a collage, and it all works together in that way. So instead of worrying about gotcha moments, like I caught you cheating, or I got you, you're a bad thinker, I got why you're a bad student, you want to think about got it pedagogy. And got it pedagogy is, am I offering enough access, enough handholds? If you think about rock climbing or climbing walls, or enough rope, or enough, rope's a bad metaphor because I know the cynical teachers, what they're going to say about that. Am I offering them enough pathways through the woods to get it? So that's where I am thinking about it, is how can I encourage got it pedagogy versus gotcha? How can I produce quality content, a quality product in teaching, rather than quality control, which is what Respondus, Lockdown Browser, and all these things that shouldn't exist are about. And I guess the last thing is the consideration of tenure is not a safe place, and it shouldn't be a safe place. Tenure protects your political leanings and your scholarly work that you can research, because inquiry should be defended. I think that's uncontroversial. Inquiry should always be defended, and we should go wherever inquiry leads, and inquiry should be responded to with high quality response that's also scholarly. It doesn't mean you have a permanent job and can say anything you want and do anything you want. And I think that interpretation has really infected a lot of the professoriate of like, all of my political speech is protected in this way. Now, your political speech is protected, but maybe not necessarily by tenure. But I think reimagining or trying to think about tenure as license to do inquiry without reproach, no matter how offensive people find what you discover, no matter how offensive people find what you're asking about, that you're allowed to do that. It's time to rope the students into that and give them a taste of that, because they're the ones who are going to be voting in a few years on higher ed funding and things like that. Give them a taste of the power of what that kind of research protection does. Let them in on it. Let them try it on and see. And although it might not be a career for them, it could be something very powerful until they say, where they will say something like, they really do need this protection in order to bring us into the future that we imagine and that we would love to be in. So that's all the real content I want to make in this video, except to say thanks for sticking around, and there's going to be a lot more new videos coming. There's going to be a slew of videos for my class. I like posting on YouTube for my classes, and you're welcome to watch those, but those videos are also going to be available on my Vimeo channel. The link is right down here. The link is down in the video description if you don't want to watch advertisements when you watch the class videos. I don't feel like students should be forced to watch commercial advertising to get what they've already paid tens of thousands of dollars for at the university. So I put them here on YouTube because of the adaptability of YouTube. It's a wonderful platform for dealing with bandwidth and for processor issues. But at the same time, I also think, you should be able to watch it without ads if you want. So Vimeo channel down below. And also I'd like to invite you on the channel, if you don't already listen to my podcast, In the Bin, which is a podcast about international debate and argumentation, I would invite you to check it out. And the link is also in the description there. I'll probably put the link maybe up here, down here, somewhere on the video here as well. But In the Bin is a podcast about debating. It's about intercollegiate debating, but also just about debating in the everyday. And as always, engage me in the comments. Love to chat with you. Love to talk to you. I guess here we go. Another online semester and maybe even another online year ahead of us for university teaching. And I'm glad you're here with me for it.